questions on that? Has anyone managed to roll anybody? It's pretty grim. So I think the key thing is that when we go to that position, it is all about trying to simultaneously put your hips as high up on them as possible without doing things like this. Because if you do this, if you start lifting that up, your base goes to nothing, and you can't pull with just your toes. Your toes are good when you've got. So it's kind of like you almost want the beginning of a technical stand-up again. We're back to a technical stand-up. And am I getting, is that got what I need to be able to get up? Whether it's this one, or whether it's using this foot to support my entire base for that technical stand-up as well. But it's that grip that you want on it. So Henry was talking about, like, I've kind of gone for a little bit there, but Henry was talking about weight distribution isn't just about cross-side and putting all your weight on somebody. It's about taking different positions within jiu-jitsu and being able to transfer where your weight actually is in relation to like what they're trying to do. You know, if they're trying to roll you, obviously I still want them to take all my weight, so I want as much of my weight over them, like the silhouette is like completely over their body, but I need that break pulling me back down. So if they try and roll you, it's just a waste of effort rather than they reverse the position. Yeah. So the next thing he showed, just use something here. So the next thing he showed, we're going to go through this weight distribution. Go just a bit further down. Sure. Is that on the cameras he showed? I can't see.
Yep.
Yep. So the next one he showed is this, where the guy is doing the elbow knee escape. So yeah, he gets here, just go all the way through it. Yeah, he gets a half guard, he goes all the way through it, and he puts me back in, basically puts me back in the guard. Yeah. So what Henry was saying was, obviously, a lot of the time when these things happen, he happens to get a move ahead of me. And it's not necessarily that I'm even going to be able to stop him getting out with what I'm going to show, it's that it's going to cost him a lot, energy-wise. It costs him a lot energy-wise. So even if he wins, he gets his 2 or 3 moves, you know, to get himself back to half guard, it's that it costs him a ton in terms of doing it. So as he begins to put his start to do it, I'm just going to start to put all my weight to begin with into that hip. So keep going with your movement. Okay. So we ended up doing the whole thing, which is fine. But you see how much effort was that for you?
Yes.
Quite a lot of work, right? So a couple of things I'm doing. I'll try and break them down into individual ones, but it ended up being almost like a little spar even now. We did the whole three moves. So the first thing I'm doing here, and it depends how much he puts his weight in when he's trying to sort of push my elbow knee. A lot of people try and bump the hips. It depends what they, So he starts trying to bump the hips. So if I can get this up, if I can get this foot under as we do it, so let's say my feet are here, right? The first thing I'm going to do is sprawl on his grip that's pushing my hip, right? So I just do that, and it kind of crumbled for it. So see how he's pushing? So all I'm doing here is I'm just opening this knee, I'm just sprawling on that grip. If he went the other side, I sprawl the other way. And I can also start putting my weight on his shoulders and start trying to escape people. So I'm just, really all I'm just doing to begin with is just sprawling. I'm putting all my weight into where he's trying to grip. Yeah, it's just really a sprawl. And the more I keep my weight off of everywhere else, the more it goes into whatever's connected to the ground. So I'm just sprawling to begin with. Yeah. The next piece I'm doing is, if he begins, let's do this side. If he begins to sort of, if he begins to try and pick this ankle up, go on. So, do it again. So if my legs are going, one second. So I'm here. So if my leg is kind of light, and my weight's in my hands, do the ankle pick. And he can do whichever ankle pick he likes. right? So just let me get the leg back in. Do it again. Do the other one. Can you do the other one? So what I'm starting to do is just to distribute my weight. It's like I'm doing a leg extension into the ground. Now, it doesn't mean that he's not going to get the leg back. But for a relatively small investment, I'm trying to push my foot into the ground. When he goes to pick my ankle up, with your hip. It buys me a ton of time. Now I can begin to open him back up again. Do you feel the difference, Pete? Yeah. So, as I said, it's not necessarily going to stop him from clearing it, but he's going to invest a ton of energy trying to do this. So, one more time. So I've ended up putting a couple together in there. So we're here. He tries to elbow knee escape, and I just scrawl to begin with. He tries to elbow knee escape the other side, and I'm just working on putting all my weight into where his hands are, because he wants to put his hands basically together. Yeah, can everyone see this? He wants to put his hands together, and I'm just sprawling and elevating that knee on the opposite side to take my hands off the mat, and it becomes a fight for him. So go on, Pete. If he manages to get the leg out, I now just start pushing leg extended into it. So as he ankle picks me, go. And while that's going on, I can start walking my knee up while he's having that fight, driving his head away with the creepy crawly, and we go back to mount. And he's done a ton of work, and I've barely moved. Yeah? So it's leg extension into the ground. So I'm literally trying to drive all my weight. It's like my quad is contracting. So I'm doing a leg extension in there. Whether the foot is up, this would be better. But even if it's down, you get kind of caught. He catches you. I'm just driving, leg extending in. It's very, very hard to ankle pick, to do anything really, to lift that up. And I'm not very flexible. Ideally, you want your shin bone. If you're flexible in your dorsiflexors, you'll be able to keep that flat. I'm not. But it's still very, very hard for him to get under it. And then I stop. I basically do this basically better, and now I start cross-facing him, putting him flat, back to mount. He does a ton of work, he gets nowhere. Yeah, so sprawl on it, leg extend, see what we get.